So there is no coincidence that whenever in 1867, 2 years up from slavery, when in the halls of Congress, when they began to discuss whether or not they were going to allow black people to go to colleges and universities, the ruling on the floor was, we'll let them go to colleges and universities, but they can't come to ours. And when they go to theirs, any black college, there's 3 sciences that must never be taught to these slaves: the science of finance, the science of warfare, and the science of mating.
Watch the full interview with Brother Nuri Muhammad now at INeverKnewTV.com Premium. All right, the elder once told me, right? Well, elder told me this recently, actually. He said 30 seconds of pleasure can destroy a whole generation. Now, I've heard 30 seconds of pleasure could destroy a life, right? But it made me think, though, right? So I wanted to ask, what do you think about this quote? He said 30 seconds of pleasure can destroy a whole generation. Why do you think we need to put more focus on mate selection in our community?
Well, I think that what he had to be speaking of, I'm just trying to put some context to help me to grasp the content. But I imagine if we could interview him, he was speaking of that 30 seconds of pleasure. It had to be sexual pleasure, because 30 seconds of pleasure that comes from drinking a soda pop is not going to produce a destroyed generation. But if 30 seconds of pleasure produces a child that broke a relationship, and then from that a cycle can continue where you have generations of children and parents. The unfortunate reality about us, I just read a study the other day where they said it's not just for black people, but the American people, 94% of American people have never read a book since they got out of high school.
I believe it.
Think about that. So if we're not reading, where are we learning from? See, one of the other things that was established in education, they say that the formula for learning is CORE, C-O-R-E as an acronym. It stands for communication, observation, reading, and experimentation. The primary form of learning, if you're not going to read, is communicate with other people, observing other people, and experimenting with what you observed. So if we're learning only from what we see other people do, and our family is the one we see the most, whatever you feed the mind the most is what wins. If I'm Johnson and that Johnson and that Johnson and that Johnson, we always had a lot of women. That's just what we did. We always, see that's being loyal to a negative habit. So in that sense, 30 seconds of pleasure can ruin a whole generation, because one person makes a decision that disrupts a home, breaks up a relationship by having weak sexual discipline. The next generation feels like, by observation and communication, that I am Ed Johnson, so I must be loyal to that particular system, and we repeat that kind of bad habit and take pride in it. Take pride in it. The Johnsons, we ladies men. And now next thing you know, you have a cycle of constant, consistent, broken homes that produces that generation. So there is no coincidence that whenever in 1867, 2 years up from slavery, when in the halls of Congress, when they began to discuss whether or not they were going to allow black people to go to colleges and universities, the ruling on the floor was, we'll let them go to colleges and universities, but they can't come to ours. And when they go to theirs, any black college, there's 3 sciences that must never be taught to these slaves: the science of finance, the science of warfare, and the science of mating. See, 2 sides of mating. One is picking a spouse, and the other is parenting the child that comes from that bond. Look at our problems right now. Finance. $1.3 trillion last 2 years out of 226 nations, 8th richest nation in the world. But we don't have anything that we can call our own. You got Spain with 47 million people. They brought in 637 or $728 billion, and we got double that. They got 47 million people with a 208,000 square mile land mass, and they got their own everything. And we can't even come to one community and find anything that we own other than beauty shops, barber shops, and barbecue restaurants. Something wrong. We got dollars, but we need some sense. So finance, we didn't learn. Then you have the science of warfare. We kill only each other. We never have raised up against the enemy that torments and kills us. We only kill each other. And mating. We have the highest divorce rate of any group of people on earth. Third world nations living in poverty and in mud huts with no running water or electricity have a better, more successful marriage ratio than black people in America. 75% divorce rate among us. And then there was a study called the McKinley-Irving study by McKinley-Irving Law. Look at this. They went back to 1867 and found that 9 out of 10 eligible black adults were married back then. That's 90% of every adult black person was married with a near 100% success ratio. That means all of them said to death do us part and made their word bond. Today, we got a 40% marriage ratio. And out of that 40%, which is 4 out of 10, 75% divorce rate means that only 1 out of the 4 couples we see that did get married are going to get married. So out of 10 eligible candidates for marriage, only 1 of them is going to make it. So that's a sign, because the minister said it like this: where there are no strong marriages, you cannot have a strong family. Where there are no strong families, you cannot have strong communities. And where there's no strong community, you can't have a strong nation. Marriage is the cornerstone of all nation building. So mating, question, is it important? It is of great significance. I said, and my brother Steve Harvey, he quoted it when they asked him about how valuable it was for him to have the wife he has. And he mentioned, he said, there's a dude named Nuri Muhammad that said, quote this thing, and he paraphrased it. He did good with his memory to say it. But what I said is that the most important decision you'll ever make in your life after choosing belief in God is choosing the right mate to spend the rest of your life with. For the mate you choose will either inspire you to grow into your greatness, or they'll confine you to complacency. They'll either be your other half, or they'll make you half of yourself. The minister said this: a good relationship brings out the best in you and makes you more youthful, while a bad relationship will bring out the worst in you and cause you to age prematurely. So choose wisely. After choosing belief in God, next most important decision you ever gonna make in your life is choosing the right mate to spend the rest of your life with. That will be the cornerstone, the foundation of nation building. We don't have no strong marriages, we'll never be a strong people.